On December 1, 2018, Hawaii's board deputy chair Meng Wanzhou was detained upon arrival at Vancouver International Airport by Canada Border Services Agency officers for questioning, which lasted 3 hours. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police subsequently arrested her on a provisional U.S. extradition request for fraud and conspiracy to commit fraud in order to circumvent U.S. sanctions against Iran. On January 28, 2019, the U.S. Department of Justice formally announced financial fraud charges against Meng. The first stage of the extradition hearing for Meng began Monday, January 20, 2020 and concluded on May 27, 2020 when a BC court ordered the extradition to proceed. Meng's extradition case was scheduled to finish in April 2021, but was aborted after the United States Department of Justice announced that it would suspend the charges against Meng Wanzhou after she entered into a deferred prosecution agreement with them. On December 1, 2018, while transferring planes at Vancouver International Airport en route to Mexico from Hong Kong, Meng was arrested by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police at the request of the United States, pursuant to the extradition treaty between Canada and the United States. On December 7, it was revealed that an arrest warrant had been issued on August 22, 2018 by the United States District Court for the Eastern District of New York. According to Crown Counsel in Canadian court, Meng was charged with conspiracy to defraud multiple international institutions. The warrant was based on allegations that Wanzhou had cleared money that was claimed to be for Hawaii, but was actually for Skycom, an entity claimed to be entirely controlled by Hawaii, which was said to be dealing with Iran, contrary to sanctions. According to the defense lawyer, the bank involved in the dealings was HSBC. The allegations were rejected by Meng's defense lawyer, who claimed she did not break any US or Canadian laws. The Crown Counsel said that the case against Meng stemmed from a 2013 Reuters report about the company's close ties to Hong Kong-based Skycom Tech, which attempted to sell US equipment to Iran, despite US and European Union bans. From December 7 to 11, Meng attended a bail hearing in Vancouver. She was released on a $10 million bail that was granted with conditions, including electronic surveillance. She was required to hand over her passports, of which 7 were listed in her court records. Of the 7, 4 were from China, and 3 were from Hong Kong. A further Chinese passport whose serial number begins with P was not listed but was later discovered. These passports are normally issued to employees of the Chinese government for travel related to public affairs. Under Canada's Extradition Act, the deadline for the US to request extradition was January 30, 2019. On January 28, the Department of Justice Canada confirmed that the US had formally requested Meng's extradition. The Canadian government had until March 1, 2019 to decide whether to authorize an extradition hearing. Also on January 28, U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen and other officials released a redacted version of an indictment filed January 24, 2019, against Meng personally as well as 3 corporate entities and at least 1 other person whose name was redacted. Meng was charged with bank fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracies to commit bank and wire fraud. The same day, the U.S. government announced a different indictment against Hawaii relating to theft of trade secrets, but that does not pertain to Meng personally. On March 1, 2019, the Department of Justice Canada issued an authority to proceed, which formally commenced an extradition process in the case. On March 3, 2019, Meng's lawyers announced that they had filed a lawsuit against the Canadian federal government, the RCMP, and the Canada Border Services Agency. The suit, filed in the British Columbia Supreme Court, alleges that Meng had been detained, searched, and interrogated by CBSA agents before being informed that she was under arrest. The civil claim, which names 3 John Doe CBSA officers, an RCMP constable, and the Attorney General of Canada as defendants, was issued on March 1, 2019. On March 6, 2019, Meng had a brief appearance in court where one of her lawyers, Richard Peck, claimed that the defense would be making a number of interlocutory applications to be heard before the hearing could begin. There was heavy interest in the Vancouver court appearance, with a long line of people unable to get into the small, packed courtroom. The court's media accreditation committee was inundated with requests from reporters around the world. Outside the courthouse, protesters demonstrating against the Chinese government showed photographs of Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig, two Canadians detained in China, and one protester burned a Chinese flag. On May 8, 2019, Meng appeared before court. Her legal team claimed the Canadian government is with Ho.